Okay, so now that I have my measurements, I can move on. I'm in my Cricut design space. And so what I want to do first, before I even go grab the image, I want to get my shapes. And I want to go to square. And that way I can manipulate it in order to form the rectangle to the size that I need it to be in order to create my frame. Okay, so now that I know my measurements and I had to pretty much change them into decimal format, so it becomes 7. Let's probably type it in. So 7.125 is what I need to change that to, because it was 7 2/16 when I measured the width. But one thing, oh, yeah, it is open. Try it again. Well, actually, I'll just do it this way. It's the long way. And I might have to just go ahead and round it to 7.2 on here. There we go. And then for the height will be just 6. Oops. I could have typed that in, but there we go. So that's enough to cover the part that says Dad and the picture itself. So I'm going to just change that to black because that's the color I'm going to end up doing it. Now there's a second part to this. So that's enough to cover Dad and the frame, the whole picture itself. So this is the size of the whole frame. But what we want is Dad by itself. So when I measure Dad by itself, I'm going to need a measurement of around 1.62, 1.63. So I'm going to have to change. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab another shape. So I'm going to grab square again. And this is going to kind of be a placeholder for me. So I'll see how much or how far down I can go with the word Dad before I have to add my picture. So I'm just going to drag it there, but I'm going to also change the sides. Let me see if I can type it in this time. See if it'll let me do that. Okay, so I'm going to need my size to be 1.625. Of course, it's not going to let me do that. So I'm going to get it as close as I can. So after measuring and everything, I would have needed 1.625 for the height. So I don't think it's going to let me get that exact number, but I'll get it. Oops, sorry. We need, not the width needs to change, but the height. The width could pretty much be the length of the whole frame, so that's fine. But the height is what's important to be changed. So let's let that go down. So I'm going to have to do it as 1.7. And there's going to be some excess at the top. But I cannot start my picture frame anything before that because then it'll cut into the picture. I mean, I can't start the picture anything before that because it'll cut into it. So that's the space that I'm working with for Dad. All right, so now that I have that as my my marker, I can go ahead and add in my picture. And so my picture has already been cropped and everything. So I'm just going to go ahead and upload it. And as you can see, the picture is square. And I don't really want to chop it up too much or change it that much. And I could crop it in a little bit more if I want. But I don't want to do that. So all I'm going to do is just manipulate it a little bit. And center it. About right there. There's a little white at the bottom, so it kind of throws it off. But long as I still have enough space where I don't cut into my dad. The wording dad right there. Okay, so I could leave it just like that. Or like I said before, I could have put a square, selected another square, and I could have cropped that out, and I could show you how to do that as well. So this is what I am going to be printing. So I'm just going to go ahead and, before I format, let me remove my little marker there. I don't really need it anymore now that I have my picture. I'm going to go ahead, and now I'm going to just flatten this image and make it. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and make it. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and select, flatten this image, and make it. And of course, this is sublimation, so make sure you mirror your image. Continue. Extend out. Send to printer. I always unselect the add bleed. Really need it for this purpose. And then I hit print. Okay, so if I decide I want the less scrunched up look of the picture, I could take this picture, because now I have my marker still up there, and I try to move this away. That should work. And then I could go get a shape again. And because our image is square, I'm going to use a square. Shall I say, you need to manipulate the square to make a rectangle. So what I do is I see how much I want to cut off. A bit more. If I really want to see what it looks like, I arrange it. Send the image to the back so I can see the line right here, and I want it longer than that. Cut off that much. I don't want to cut off hands. About right there is good for me. Okay, so just make sure I have enough space now to select it. And then when you select it, you do the slice. It might look like nothing happened, but then when you go to select, you can see the little extra down there, the access is cut. And I'm sure my square is behind there, so let me remove that. And now I can drag my image back. Let me go ahead and play with it a little bit so that way I can get it bigger without it being stretched out and scrunched up. And try to center it as much as possible. There's a little bit of black left down there, but it's not a big deal. Okay, there we go. I think it looks pretty good. And then so I'll do the same thing. I'll remove my little marker out the way. Select and flatten. Then go through the process of making it and everything all over again. Right? So I'm going to print and then head to the heat press. Well, actually before I hit. Okay, so after I print, I am going to go ahead and secure the picture to the frame. Okay, as you can see, I am removing the little layer, there's a little plastic layer that's on the frame. So please make sure you remove that first before you press. Trust me, I have done it. I have pressed with it on there and made a mess. So yes, please remove that and just kind of wipe it down before you start attaching the picture. Okay, before you attach the picture, make sure you wipe it down. Okay, so as you can see, I need to cut my image down. So I'm gonna use my Cricut cutter right here, and I'm gonna get that done real quick and come right back. Okay, so I went ahead, took the picture, and I centered it up on here. So where you can see that the picture itself is aligned perfectly. I don't know if you can tell, but it's aligned perfectly to where Dad will be all black. Okay? And so I think did a good job of the measuring because everything is just a little of the excess, but the whole picture is covered. So I'm going to go ahead and tape this and secure it down. And then we're going to take it to the heat press. And I don't see my... I'm going to find the thicker one because I have the thin one of these, but I also have the thicker one. So I'm going to go ahead and get that and then take it to the press. Okay, so as you can see, the picture is secured on the frame. And I only use like 4 strips of the tape. And the press, it could be anywhere between, I would say 375 to 415. If it's anywhere between there, you should be good. I'm going to do mine for about 40 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to press it about 40 seconds. And I can't lift my my press. I need to screw some things on there, so don't mind that I can't lift it up all the way. I'll fix it soon. Anywho. So I put it down, start my timer. So be back when about 30 seconds. Okay, time is about up. So I'm gonna lift it up. It's not gonna beep. Whew, you see all that smoke though. And it's a little hot, so I always use the handles. And before I take it all the way up, I'm going to go ahead and just check it to make sure it's good. Because so many times you lift it up and it's like, oh, there's still a little bit that needed to press a little longer. So this side looks good. Let me check over here. And it's kind of hot. I'm not going to lie about it. It's a little hot. Let me check the top. So overall, all the corners, I just leave enough so that way I can check the corners. Looks good to me, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead because it's hot. I'm gonna let this cool off a little bit and then I'll do the reveal. Okay, so just finished prying off the rest of the cover of the paper. And I think it looks okay. I mean, it's not perfect, but, and then the quality of the picture wasn't the greatest to start with, but I think overall it came out pretty good.